Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is a donation deck from subscriber Steve. And Steve has me playing blue-green Omni-Show. So what this deck is trying to do is resolve Show and Tell and put in Omniscience and then win the game somehow. So popular ways to win the game include casting Emrakul. Because Omniscience lets you cast your spells, you do get the cast trigger, you get the extra turn. You get to annihilate 6 and deal 15 flying damage before they get a chance to do anything else, so that's usually good enough. Grizzlebrand plus Omniscience, you get to cast all 7 or 14 cards you draw, so you should be able to figure it out from there. Probably find an Emrakul and attack with both. Seagate Restoration, super cool tech here. The back half is just a land, and hitting land drops with a deck like this is pretty important. So that's nice. And then the front is draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand plus 1, and then you have no maximum hand size the rest of the game. So if you resolve your Omniscience with 3 cards in hand, you fire this off, now you have 5 cards in hand. And there's 2 of these, they can string together and go nuts. Drawn from Dreams, basically dig through time, it just costs 4. And then all the normal cantrips you'd expect. Then Cunning Wish, also. With Omniscience, Cunning Wish has a whole package of things it can get. Like, for example, if you... Well, the most direct one, I'll start there, I guess, is Shared Summons. So use Cunning Wish for Shared Summons, then you Shared Summons for Emrakul and Grizzlebrand, and then you win the game. This is search a library for 2 creatures with different names. So that's the direct line to victory. Let's say you cast Show and Tell, and you put in Omniscience, and they put in Reclamation Sage, and now there's a trigger on the stack destroying your Omniscience. You can Cunning Wish for Sublime Epiphany in response, which lets you, among other things, counter target activated or triggered ability. So you get a bunch of value off of that. If you have the Emrakul or Grizzlebrand, but there's something like Ensnaring Bridge holding you back, Return to Nature can deal with that. Echoing Truth can deal with that. So there's a nice little wish board here. And then that is the whole deck. Interesting things going on in Steve's build particularly is Steve did not play the Snowlands and Icefang Coatls. That is part of what made Blue-Green Omniscience so good about a year ago. Right before people really figured out how to play Dreadhorde Arcanist, this deck was so good that I actually bought a Eureka in real life so I could play this. Like, I just wanted access to this deck because I was so impressed with it. So Steve is not playing the Icefang Coatls. Instead, he has leaned into Lotus Petal to increase speed. We're going to see how that goes. I'm not going to change it right now without trying it. But unlike a deck like Sneak and Show, which has 8 payoffs, this one only has 5. So you have your 4 Show and Tells and the 1 Eureka. So like Sneak and Show, you can play the numbers a bit, and you could play fast mana because you're more likely to draw, almost twice as likely to draw a payoff that you can cast early. Blue-Green Omni spins its wheels a lot more and just takes its time to make sure the first one's going to resolve. So we'll see how Lotus Petal plays into that. The big thing about this deck, Veil of Summer, this is the reason to play this deck. This is basically Defense Grid, Cryptic Command, protection from discard. Like, I don't need to tell Legacy players about this card, or really any format players. It's banned in most formats by now. Pioneer, Standard, it's been banned. It is still legal in Modern, Legacy, and Vintage, so I guess most formats isn't true, but banned in several formats, and it's a main deck feature of this deck. So things that I'm noticing here that I do want to change is that one of the major draws to a deck like this is to be able to juke out of the sideboard. Just do something different post-board when they're ready for your combo. And Shifting Ceratops is one of the best sideboard jukes I've seen out of a combo deck in recent memory. This blue-green Omni gets to sideboard into this uncounterable pro-blue thick monster. And you're already playing City of Traders and Lotus Petals, so you have fast mana to get it down before turn 4. This thing blocks Delver, it smashes through most blockers, so I'm going to bring 2 of these into the sideboard. And there are 2 cards in the sideboard right now that I don't think are going to pull their weight. One of them is Release the Ants. So Release the Ants, if you're not familiar, it deals 1 damage to any target, then you clash with an opponent, and clash is you each reveal your top card, and the person with the higher converted mana cost wins the clash. So, and then you can put that card on the bottom or leave it on top. So Release the Ants, you deal 1 clash. If you win, return it to your hand. So the goal here is you get Emrakul on top of your deck with Ponder, Brainstorm, Preordain. You put it there somehow, and then you just win all the clashes and deal 20 damage to your opponent with Release the Ants and Omniscience. However, Release the Ants used to combo with Enter the Infinite, which was a card that the Omniscience decks plays, which is draw your deck, then put 1 card back. So that deck, it was built to set up putting Emrakul as not only the top, but the only card in their deck with their entire deck in their hand as backup. This one, you need to get a Brainstorm or Ponder and find the Emrakul. And if you found Emrakul already and you have Omniscience, why aren't you just casting Emrakul? So I think Release the Ants is a little wonky in a build like this. You're not going to need it. And then the other one that I'm not in love with is Firemind's Foresight. So 7 mana instant. Search your library for an instant card that costs 3, another one that costs 2, and another one that costs 1, and put them all in your hand. This is a value engine. Like, you Cunning Wish for this, then you cast this, and you get Brainstorm, Impulse, and Cunning Wish. And it's just like a value engine under Omniscience. But you don't really need this, because this shared summons, like Cunning Wish for shared summons, getting Grizzlebrand is going to get you way more cards than Firemind's Foresight is. So I can't imagine a situation where you would use your Cunning Wish to get Foresight instead of just win the game. So those are 2 kind of win more and in some cases win less options out of the sideboard, when Cunning Wish can just go straight to the business. And I'm happier with that sideboard. Really just 2 Ceratops presenting a different sort of clock is really important, because opponents are going to bring in all of their soft permission and their artifact and enchantment removal and stuff like that, and you're just going to ram with dinosaurs. The last thing about this list that I'm not in love with is there's only 3 Cunning Wish, but that's enough that you can still Intuition for Cunning Wish. And if I were to put the 4th one in, I would lose the Uro, which there is a spicy 1 of Uro here, just for another angle of attack in the main deck. You can also make Intuition piles that involve Uro if you're in like a late game grind situation. So I'm not going to go up to 4 Cunning Wish, though I do think the card's very important. But let's try this as it is. This is one of the longest deck techs I've done in the beginning of a video in a long time, because I actually do have thoughts about this deck and I'm excited to play it. So let's get into these games. I'm on the play in game 1, and I'm playing against Ozymandias, which I believe that is Madfolk in real life. He likes Life from the Loam decks and like fair green sort of decks. So I think I want to keep this on the strength of the Brainstorm. Like, I think I want to play Misty Rainforest Lotus Petal or Flooded Strand Lotus Petal, because Misty Rainforest might want to get Basic Forest at some point, but that's not going to be now. So I'm going to pass like this. Yeah, look at that. A fair green deck. What a shock. Okay. Looks like some Eldrazi business. So I do need to find some the payoff soon. Like, this is just a straight race. Nothing else interesting is going to happen in this game except I'm going to get locked out or I'm not. So I can brainstorm now to try to chain together a few cantrips, or I can brainstorm in response to the Thought-Knot Seer, but I don't think that makes any sense. Alright, so Veil of Summer is all the way dead. They are a colorless deck. There's nothing of interest there. Force of Will could be important. I think that I would rather... I guess, like, so if I put back the second Omniscience, then Force Pitching Seagate Restoration is my hit for this Thought-Knot Seer. I think that's probably fine. Alright, that didn't go well. We needed a show and tell there. We just found more bricks. But we can disrupt the Thought-Knot Seer. I guess the question is, do I even need to? Like, Grizzlebrand, they could have Caracas, but like Grizzlebrand is largely also a win if it comes into play on time. I guess I will counter it because I can. Like, this deck plays 4 Cavern of Souls. I could lose my opportunity here. Now if they have another one, then that's even worse. But I guess if they had the other one, then the Thought-Knot Seer would have stripped both of my payoffs. So, alright, they're also a Wasteland deck, so I am going to get Basic Island. Alright, come on, deck, show and tell off the top. Shit. Alright, we're starting to be in some trouble. If they still have 5 cards in hand, so that's a lot to just like land Reality Smasher here or whatever. Yep. In for 7. I am dead on a... I'm on a 2-turn clock if I crack my Misty, and a 3-turn clock if I don't. Show and tell. Oh, Uro. That's interesting. That can buy some time. Alright, so 5 plus 5 plus 2. I am still dead if they have a second Reality Smasher. And I can put Uro into play next turn with the fetch land and the Lotus Petal if I'm not dead. Okay, Chalice of the Void. That's fine. This is the perfect time for them to take time doing something like that. Uro might save me here. I guess it depends on what else they can produce. Reshaper, okay. Oh, how wide are we going? Alright, cool. So show and tell's the best draw, but if I miss it, I can still... How much does this actually cost? 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's not happening. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go to 4. So Force of Will and Brainstorm are in my graveyard, but I don't want a Mystic Sanctuary for a variety of reasons. Well, they have Chalice of the Void, and they have... like, they have lethal on board, and Uro needs all 5 of these cards to escape with. Alright, Uro, it's up to you, big fella. I'm dead to Caracas. Dismember also isn't good for me. So I guess I can't put this in off Uro. That's a little surprising. I didn't know that's how that works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can still play it as a land. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, I think just having this in play. No, I would not like to pay 3 life for that. Alright, so I'm dead to a number of things, but I'm also alive to a number of things. Oh, okay. They're activating Eye of Ugin already, so I'm going to lose next turn if they have a top-end threat like Ulamog. Yeah, also a second Reality Smasher just gets through. So it's time to draw the show and tell, please. I would also take Eureka, even though that's pretty dangerous against Eldrazi. Shit. Yeah, it turns out this Chalice on 1 was pretty good. I guess I can still attack and draw a card, because I'm dead if I don't, so that is a free roll. Another Omniscience, perfect. And even though I have a lot of lands in play, it's not 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, and they can still cast Smasher and go to 2. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they don't even need to attack. Okay, I mean, Uro was pretty dope there, honestly. But this Chalice of the Void, even though it arrived super late in the game and I didn't have 1-drops at the time, was still good when it mattered. And Matt's pretty smart. He knows Legacy, so he's going to know exactly what we're up to over here, even though I didn't really execute the plan I wanted. All right, let's see if Brainstorm would have got me there. Yep. So the Chalice of the Void did win that game. Okay, so this matchup is actually pretty tough because we are extremely built to beat blue decks. Sylvan Library probably comes in, like, you have to cut Veil of Summer. This doesn't do anything unless they have a Chalice on 3, because then you can Veil and make Show and Tell uncounterable. But that's about it. I'm not going to bring in Sublime Epiphany. And then the decisions of how much to board in versus how much to leave in the wish board is pretty interesting. I'm going to bring in Return to Nature. This card, by the way, I considered turning into a Force of Vigor, but I think the utility of Return to Nature is worth more than the raw power of Force of Vigor. Like, there's not really green cards in the deck. There's only 5 green cards in the whole main deck, so you're not really going to pitch to Force. It's really only payoff for Omniscience, but Return to Nature lets you actually put it in your deck. So I do like that. So I'm leaving Echoing Truth in the sideboard as an answer to Chalice that I can wish for if necessary, and then I'm bringing Return to Nature into the deck as something I can cast. And I guess I want the Ceratopses to contest the board, so I'm not just straight racing against creatures. Like, this can just trade off with Reality Smasher and beat a lot of the smaller creatures. All right, that's too many. Maybe Sylvan Library is no bueno, because you're not going to have a lot of time. I just brought that in as a card that had text versus Veil of Summer, which has none. Yeah, I think this makes sense. Let's do it. All right, Show and Tell right in my hand with a Grizzlebrand. I'm going to keep this, though this hand is pretty susceptible to Wasteland with this awkward Mystic Sanctuary right here. Opponent knows that they're on against a combo deck now, so they're incentivized to mulligan for Disruption. I'm just going to run this out. Like, I don't think it's going to get better if I wait. Like, alright, didn't have the Wasteland. Okay, so I can force the Chalice, or I can just let Chalice resolve and just hope to hit land drops, and that's what I'm choosing to do. Like, I can save the Brainstorm to pitch for Force. Yeah, if they can back this up with, like, Eldrazi Mimic plus Wasteland and then Thought Not Seer, I could lose this game pretty quick. Jeez. Never say what their outs are, because they'll always find it. That's exactly the line I described. Great. Alright, so now I need to draw 2 lands in a row. This is actually getting bad. Shit. Okay, this Chalice, once again, has been a complete beating. I guess I could have played the fetch land first and just spewed off a Brainstorm on turn 1 in response to Chalice. I don't know if that's right. Oh god, this is my nightmare. So I guess I'm discarding Brainstorm. Here comes a Smasher. I'm gonna have to force this one. I'm gonna keep the Impulse because that's a cantrip I can still cast. Though I'm looking pretty dead here. I basically, and because they have Caracas, Grizzlebrand's not even a win. So I need to find an untapped land right now. Ugh. Okay. Dead to Chalice of the Void. I could have forced it, but like I still would have lost this game because it hasn't done anything. Like I would have just now found the 1-drop to cast despite the Chalice. So I'm taking 6 here and then 9 next turn, and there's nothing I can do about any of it. Yeah, I'm just dead. So got sort of hammered down there. Chalice of the Void won both of those games, but yeah. Like I would have been Brainstorm locked. I went so many cards deep. Obviously that doesn't matter, but yeah, that lined up really well. That was a good mulligan, good choice. Feel like I'm not sure if that matchup is actually good or bad, but they certainly have the tools to win. I'm on the draw in round 2. I'm gonna keep this. This has a turn 2 show and tell potential. If they're another Chalice of the Void deck, we are fucked. Okay, so they're blue-red Delver, and notably they cannot cast Daze with the land that they have. So I'm looking for, ooh, I could just go for turn 1, but if I fail, I lose. Like, Lotus Petal uses itself one and done. City of Traders, I'm gonna have to make another land drop before I follow up. Like, this is Emrakul in play or dead, based on if they have a force or not. I don't think I want to play that game. Some people in my comments love telling me that I play combo decks like they're control decks, but I'm not sure if this is a case of that. I think this is a case of I would actually like to function in a game of Magic. Okay, so I'm going to keep the Force of Will. So next turn I can just make the same play of putting Emrakul into play, but I can do it with Force of Will backup, and I can still play around Daze. Though Veil of Summer is the best draw in the deck right now. It would be great if they missed their land drop, because that would be so many things I don't have to think about. They did not oblige. Okay, so now I don't have to think about like Spell Pierce or anything, but they are going to have a bunch of cards in their hand. Just gotta hope they can't beat. They don't have 2 counter spells. They did not shuffle. Veil of Summer. Alright, fine. Alright, Emrakul, go do the thing. Alright, they had 1. We planned for that. Alright, can you beat an Emrakul? They have True Name Nemesis, I have Emrakul. So I win this race, believe it or not. Alright, yep, they're dead. Classic. So those the folks in the comments who are like, just jam when you have the combo, what are you doing? Quit farting around. That's what I'm doing. I took 1 turn to find backup. They had the Force of Will, and I easily won that game instead of easily losing it. Okay, so Flusterstorm can fight soft permission, or Flusterstorm can fight hard permission, Carpet of Flowers, blank soft permission pretty well. What do I cut? Oh, also this is a Shifting Ceratops matchup for sure. This the ability to do something different if they turtle up into a control game is really important. I don't think I need both Uro and and Shifting Ceratops in the deck at the same time. Drawn from Dreams can get a little clunky. I'm just trying to get more consistent things in play here. Maybe Lotus Petal is just a strict Carpet of Flowers just strictly upgrades Lotus Petal. Maybe that's a way to play this. Yeah, I think I like that. I don't really like one and done resources in a Delver matchup because that deck is built to 1-for-1 you, and I need to get over the top. So Carpet will just be a more powerful Lotus Petal every time I draw it. These like clunky blue cards like Intuition and Cunning Wish are like drawn from Dreams like, against the deck that's bringing in a bunch of Red Blasts. Oh yeah, Boseiju also obviously comes in here. Almost blew it on that one. So is this an additional land or does it replace a land? I think it should probably be an additional land. Though, what would I cut if that is the case? I was just saying Intuition is like the clunkiest card left in the deck. So I'm gonna cut Intuition. So Drawn from Dreams, Intuition, Cunning Wish, these are all clunky blue cards against the deck that's bringing in Pyroblast. I'm gonna go with this. Alright, we have Carpet and 3 Show and Tell payoffs with Force of Will, but no Show and Tell. I don't think I can keep this hand. There's no Brainstorm to get rid of these Emrakul's. Like, if I knew 100% that my top 2 cards were land Show and Tell, I would keep, but obviously I don't because that's cheating. Alright, this one's even worse. Alright, opponent's also mulling to 5 though, so we have a deal. Alright, I'm gonna keep this, and I'm actually gonna send the Omniscient and the Flusterstorm away. Or definitely Omniscience. Do I need Veil if I'm trying to fluster? Alright, so because we're both playing these low resource games, like they're mulling to 4, I mulled to 5, I think Shifting Ceratops is the kind of card that can win a game where we're both just sputtering on resources. And there's a good chance that these mulligans that they're taking, they're chasing, like they want their Red Blast or Force of Will or whatever. So let's see what they come up with. Alright, so they have turn 1 Delver with 2 cards left. I'm willing to bet it's Force Blue card. So drawing the land there was great because once I get to 4 lands, if my life total is still high, I'm going to be in good shape. Because Shifting Ceratops can block and eat Delver. Reach is one of the words that you can put on your Ceratops. So they have Flusterstorm now. That's the kind of card that you bring in Ceratops to beat. Like, even on 4 cards over there, if they showed me turn 1 Delver, flip it revealing Flusterstorm, then I would be kind of worried. They did not shuffle, they did want the land drop. Alright, so we have 4 lands now. It's time to get shifty. I want to be careful about a Stifle. Like, I'm not sure if they're going to play that card, but I don't want to lose to it if they do. Oh, bummer. There's the City of Traders to cheese Ceratops in. I guess that's still fine because I can go basic forest this turn and then land Ceratops plus activate. So I get my Ceratops on the same turn, but I get an activation out of it this way. Right, so I'll put back those 2, and I'm going to fetch in my upkeep so I can stifle or fluster a Stifle if I need to. Right, so I can ponder here. Ooh, Carpet, hell yeah. So I don't want all those other lands. So there is another trop in the deck, but I do want carpet. This lets me play around Wasteland, which I was worried about having to fetch the trop first. I guess I could have put Basic Force back in my deck off Brainstorm and fetch that, and then I get to play around Wasteland, but now it doesn't matter anyway. And by playing around Daze, I lost my ability to cast. Oh, they only have one island right now anyway, so no, I'm not going to use this ability. Just pass. But now I have Shifting Ceratops going nuts next turn. I'm ready to shift. They're going to need 2 lightning bolts to get through this thing, and I have Flusterstorm to protect it if they do. I'm at 10 life. So just gotta hope they don't present another threat, and it looks like they're not going to. Right, yeah, I think I can just... No, I'll keep getting basics. I was about to say I think I can just lean into non-basics at this point because I'm already not playing around Wasteland. Yes, use the ability, make green green. Opponent should be shitting their pants right now. And because I found carpet, I don't even need to play the city. Yeah, now I just have this Shifting Ceratops, backed up by Flusterstorm if they have Double Bolt. Gains Reach, Bricks Delver. Now I have all the time in the world. Though they can just bolt me 3 times if they're ready to pivot onto their burn plan. But I will be able to Cunning Wish for stuff in the coming turns. Carpet of Flowers, pretty powerful there. You can Brainstorm, that's fine. So what's in the sideboard I would want to get? So I could set up a multi-turn, like, Cunning Wish for Intuition for Show and Tell. I mean, that doesn't do a lot, but I can do it. Just like, I'm going to have to win the game somehow now that I've not lost the game. Yeah, Wastelanding me is fine because that means that that's a land that they're not going to cast True Name Nemesis with. Like, that's the kind of thing I'm worried about now. Finding a second Ceratops would be completely bonkers. Alright, Omniscience. So... Alright, so now I have a reason to take this multi-turn line. So I think I want blue mana, basically in all situations where I'm not activating Shifting Ceratops. So do I Cunning Wish for Intuition, or do I... This is a sorcery, so I can't get that. Or do I hold on to this for some reason? I don't think that's right. That sounds wrong. Yeah, I'll wish for Intuition. Okay, I'm not going to fight over this because this is not important to me. Getting burned out by Lightning Bolt is what's important to me. So that's fine. And I'm holding Omniscience in case I ever draw a Show and Tell. I'm just going to skip on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 is not enough to hardcast Omniscience, not yet. So now I also have Force for True Name Nemesis, which is a big relief. Ooh. See you later, Beseju. Alright, so that's another big piece of the puzzle. That's something else they have to be scared of. So now their hand that they've filled with counterspells they know is useless. So they're going to be incentivized to find a wasteland, but they also need to find a way to win the game. All right, so blue, blue, blue. All right, they have 3 now. That's funny. I'm going to wish. I guess, like, do I wish with Beseiju? Like, I can set up a multi-turn. I go to 7 to cast Cunning Wish. Then I go to 5 to cast Intuition. Then I go to 3 to cast... Yeah, that's not going to do it for me. So I think I'm actually just not going to cast anything here. Like, I could Cunning Wish for Veil of Summer if I need to. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of, like, what matters here. True Name Nemesis matters. Lightning bolting my face. Okay. What is this? Oh, is this Ethereal Forager? Wow. Okay, so I can, what's in my sideboard here that is helpful? So I can force this pitching Omniscience, then Cunning Wish in the end step for something. All right, yeah, I think I'm off this Omniscience. I don't want them to regrow that Lightning Bolt at all. All right, so they forced me back. I can Flusterstorm, or I can Cunning Wish for Veil of Summer, but that would... So the difference is, if I Cunning Wish, then I am at... Okay, yeah, that's not going to work for me. Got a Flusterstorm here. They're Cunning... Or they pitched Flusterstorm with their Force, so I am in double bolt range, and now my protection for that is gone. So maybe I should Cunning Wish for Echoing Truth and bounce this Delver so I can start attacking. Yes, make blue. So do they have another force? They did have another force. Okay, so their hand is empty now. I'm going to hold on to this land for Brainstorm because I have tons of mana. And now I'm stable from Double Bolt for at least 2 turns. So they've pitched Daze and Flusterstorm. Alright, so second Ceratops is my best draw. Ooh, that's pretty good too, though. Yes, make blue. 1, 2, 3. I guess this is not good because it doesn't do... So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could cast it and resolve it with Beseiju, but I died a bolt in response, and it cost me... Okay, I'm gonna just hold on to that for a little while. It might be good eventually, but not yet. Like, I only draw 2 cards off it, and it puts me to 1 bolt range, which is not acceptable. Oh no, did they find the true name? Oh no, this is a second Ethereal Forager. So Ponder, Alright, yeah, that resolves. Force of Negation, Force of Will, Ponder. Alright, they have one card in their hand right now. Oh, Force of Will, thanks for showing up. Yes. Make blue. So I am, oh, I was about to say I'm dead anyway, but that's not true because they have 2 attackers. Like, I'm dead to Bolt. No, that's not. Okay, no. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna pass. So Ethereal Forager has to attack to get a trigger. And if they're gonna attack with one of those, they should attack with both. So they're gonna try to put me to 2, which turns off Beseiju, which is actually really good. And I'm dead to single Bolt. So let's see if they bring back a Force, or if they wanna bring back a Ponder. Yeah, I would also bring back Ponder there. Alright, so I'm at 2, facing down Ponder and 2 mystery cards against the Lightning Bolt theme deck. Yeah, by now that like Cunning Wish for Intuition for Show and Tell line isn't looking so silly now that it's turned 12. They did not shuffle their library. Sprite Dragon. So that can kill me pretty quick. They just need 1 spell next turn. Yeah, I guess I have to force this. Feels bad, man. I'm at 1. So if their last card in hand is Lightning Bolt, at any point I lose. I can't tap Beseiju anymore. Thanks for showing up, Show and Tell. I can't crack this. Fetch land. Alright, yep. I'm dead to everything. This is not looking good. I basically have to draw Emrakul or Grizzlebrand next turn and put them into play. And then also Fade Lightning Bolt for a turn. So they can't have Lightning Bolt or a second creature or a counterspell at all, and I need to draw perfectly. So no for that, but City of Traders actually is good. Yep, now the sweat. The long sweat. Wasteland's pretty good. They correctly identified they don't have to care about Beseiju anymore. Womp, 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 womp. Remember last round when we couldn't draw a land to save our lives? And now we have, like, near infinite mana. Can't do anything. I wish Vigilance was one of the words on this card, but it's Reach, Trampler, Haste. This game would end a long time ago if this had the Vig. Alright, so they made their 5th land drop. The only reason Delver would do that is because they want to hardcast Force of Will. So there could have been some value to putting Show and Tell on the stack there. Like, I think they would have committed a Force to it, and I would have Veil of Summered. But I think these, like, cutesy little edges don't make any sense right now with the direness of my situation here at One Life. Like, if I knew they had Lightning Bolt in hand or something, I could have put Show and Tell, let them force, Veil of Summer, hope that my 1 draw of Veil of Summer is what I was looking for. So it's time to draw Grizzlebrand. They did not shuffle their library. I am scared. Why wouldn't they shuffle their library? There's not many things that they would not shuffle for. Okay, so yes, use this ability. Do I make green or blue? Because if I make green, or if I make blue, I could string cantrips together. If I make green, then if I don't make green and I do end up casting the show and tell, then yeah, I think I have to make green. Because I only have one stable green source, so if that ends up being in play, like if I tap this for Veil of Summer on my turn and I don't win on the spot, I'm dead to Delver. So I don't get to cantrip off of that, but I do get to resolve my Ponder. I think I have to shuffle this. Alright, that didn't go where I needed it to. Yeah, having only the one sticky green source made that hand really awkward, or else I could have just kept that second Ponder and gone off with Carpet of Flowers. Well, let's play that same turn again. So do I even need to make green now? I don't think so. Because I don't have the Veil anymore. Aha! I wish I made green! Well, if I made green, they would be on a very fast clock, but I didn't. So next turn I'll be able to shift and bash. Though that takes an entire turn off my clock where I'm sweating real hard right now. Oh wow, their fetch failed to find. Like all of their lands are in play right now. Alright, time to sweat this real hard. Yes, make green. So shifting Ceratops. Leave a green floating for haste. I guess I didn't even need to do that, because this one can already attack. Whoops. Tight plays from tight people. That's my brand. Alright, since I committed to it, I'll leave the blocking one still on blocking duty. Oh, I wish they were at 15, but they are on a 2-turn clock instead of a 1-turn clock now. Don't lightning bolt me. Don't you do it. His Stifle also beats me still. So do I want to cast Show and Tell? Like, it could bait a counterspell of some variety out of their hand. They could also just put in Trinate Nemesis and I lose. So I actually don't want to do that. Shouldn't have made the mana. Yeah, so gotta survive one more turn here. Oh, they're passing. Like they're either slow rolling me or they're dead. Yes, make blue. If I could find some sort of... Oh, okay. I could just, like... I guess I can't win the game here. None of this matters. So I think that... Like, I already have lethal in play. The only thing that would help me here is a counterspell. Alright, so let's just get in. I'm trying to think of what they could do with Flash that would matter. I don't think anything. All right, we did it. Shifting Ceratops. Good thing we put that one in the sideboard, because that game was not going to be one without it. Ooh. Held one card plan. And I'm on the play, and I have Show and Tell, Force of Will, and Ponder to find the payoff, so I'll keep this. I don't know what you're looking for if you mulligan this hand. You even get to lead on a basic island. Also, I love that Flooded Strand for basic island Ponder is just 100% on brand for me. So if my opponent does like follow my content or anything, they're not going to get any information. All right, so I'm going to put the Impulse in my hand first. And because if I need to Force of Will something, I don't want to pitch Show and Tell. Oh god, is this the mirror? No, okay, good. Yikes. All right, so I have a second basic now. So check out this line that's lined up right now. Show and Tell goes on the stack. If they counter it, I just Show and Tell the next turn. And if they counter that one, I can Mystic Sanctuary, get back Show and Tell. I can Show and Tell 3 turns in a row. And Wasteland messes up that plan, but I am going to be grinding pretty hard here. So I'm not going to cast the Impulse because the card I want is already on top of my deck. Like there's nothing to dig for, and that's my easy blue card for Force of Will. Maybe this one will just resolve. So if they force, I'll force back. If they daze, I probably also force that. Alright, okay. I'm not going to fight over the Brainstorm, because that could be bait. Like, they could already have daze, and they're just brainstorming for more. So let me let that resolve, and then now that they're tapped out of mana a little bit, I'm going to force. Though if they do cast Force, then I know they don't have daze, because they would obviously lead on daze here. Alright, so Force, pitching Impulse. I'll make a stand here, see if it works, and if it doesn't, I'll resort back to the just jam every turn plan. And next turn I'm playing around days anyway. Okay, so Force pitching Uro. Okay, so they're on that Ghoul-Dakat Uro Delver plan. Alright, so Wasteland fucks me up. Anything other than Wasteland is fine. And I know that one of their cards in hand is Tropical Island. And I know they just brainstormed and they're not able to shuffle. So don't waste me, please. What do you got? Alright, we dodged. So we're going to get to Show and Tell 3 turns in a row here. Though I don't think all 3 of them are going to be necessary. Wow, a 3/4 creature. Wow, 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 wow. Alright, so I'm going to play Mystic Sanctuary, regrowing Show and Tell. Oh, sick. Even have a backup plan now. I'm going to put the Show and Tell on top. Even if this one resolves, it's still like worth it to play around days. So yeah, I'm in for that. Without Oko in the format anymore, I don't think I have anything to worry about here. Yeah, they're just dead. Isn't it gross that just a month ago, I would have been behind in that game because they could have just Oko'd. Glad that card's gone. Fuck Oko. Okay, so this is Delver again. I'm going to do the same plan. Shifting Ceratops is in Flusterstorm. And Drawn from Dreams is a clunker. Intuition's a clunker. The Uro is a lot more interesting. After playing last game where Shifting Ceratops held the board but couldn't attack for so long, and I was drawing to just a second Shifting Ceratops, I think I actually want Uro in the deck. Impulse is a bit of a clunker. Oh, right. The Lotus Petals were the other thing that I would cut. Yeah, so I'm just cutting Impulse instead of Uro this time. And doing the same plan I did last round. Yeah, they're going to have Pyroblasts and Soft Permission, maybe some Surgical Extractions, I don't know. But yeah, this looks pretty good. That was a relentless pummeling last round, that show and tell, show and tell, show and tell, and force back up along the way. I like that. This hand does not do much. It hits all its land drops, which is pretty important against Delver. So if they keep a hand that's like 7 counterspells, this hand is perfect because it hits all its land drops, it has Veil. If they have like a Delver Tarmogoyf backed by Daze Pyroblast hand, I'm dead. I am going to try this though. This being on the draw, up a game, I got a little bit of breathing room. Yeah, no turn 1 Delver. That's the giant sigh of relief. So yeah, they pass the turn on turn 1. There's nothing that my deck can do on turn 1, so they would have jammed Delver if they have it. So they don't have Delver. I'm confident of that. Alright, look at this hand just coming together. Chugga chugga, kids. So I have the game. I have the win here. I have Show and Tell with Veil of Summer backup and the Cunning Wish for GG. I just gotta be alive when I have 4 lands in play. Alright, what do they got here? Magmatic Channeler, that's fun. Discard a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library, then choose one. You may play that card this turn. Okay. And when you have 4 instant or sorceries in the graveyard, this becomes a 4/4. Alright, so that is about the least scary thing they could do right now for me. Alright, second Veil is nice. So if I draw a land, or I guess I just main phase Veil of Summer next turn, and then if that resolves, I win. If it doesn't resolve, then I'll just try the same play next turn. If I draw City of Traders, I can do both Veils. Or Carpet of Flowers does the same thing. I can cast it in main phase 1, then go to main phase 2 and get a bunch of action off of it. You may play that card this turn. Okay, so they just lost a Force of Negation. Activating this on the main phase versus in response to a spell cost them Force of Negation, but I don't know if that is important to their plan or not. So they can cast this Ponder this turn. Yeah, drawing Carpet or City would be insane. Then they would need 3 counter spells, because they have to counter the Veil, counter the second Veil, and counter the Show and Tell. They did not shuffle their library. So I have to assume that Pyroblast is in this hand. Come on, City of Traders, Carpet of Flowers. Alright, so this will demand an answer, and it can't be Pyroblast. And if they do something like Spell Pierce, I can just pay 2, let Veil resolve, draw a card, and then pass. Like I can get a cantrip out of a Flusterstorm or Spell Pierce. Alright, so they pitched something to Force of Negation. That's countered. You got it. Then I will make the same play next turn. Land is a great draw because then I can do the Veil of Summer thing again and also play around Daze if they counter Veil. But they've been playing like they have Pyroblast. Okay, they're just attacking with this thing now. Interesting. Pivot. Okay, so I have a land. Let's check these defenses again. They do have 5 cards in hand. That's a lot of cards. Oh, wow. You are dead, Zos. I guess they could have 2 Stifles. That would mess me up a bit. Omniscience does not have hexproof, by the way, so that's kind of important to keep in mind because it'll come into play after the Veil. Oh, they do have a Stifle. Do they have 2 of them? Okay, God. That would have sucked. Alright, so this can't be countered. Okay, so you're cantripping, that's fine. Put in some science, cast Grizzlebrand. I'm leading on Grizzlebrand because the instants can respond. Alright, yeah, they're just dead. So just take your time, protect with Veil of Summer, overpower these little blue decks. On to the next round. Right, I'm on the play here with a Force of Will Impulse hand with a lot of lands. This doesn't have A or B, but it does have protection. I'm actually going to keep this. I feel like playing blue-green is different than playing Sneak and Show, where you're just always, like, you need to mulligan to something that has A or B and then find it, but, like, Omni wants to play kind of a longer game. Obviously, I'd prefer a hand that has one or the other. I also don't think I'm going to Impulse on turn 2 unless I draw A or B on that turn. Because I want to use my Impulse to find what's missing, and I don't know what's missing yet. Jeez, these Delver players are out in force. Everyone wants to be a Delver these days. Okay, Preordain was a good find. I'm going to fetch for Basic Island before I cast Preordain. Okay, bottom, top. I'll take the Brainstorm. I already have 2 more land drops, so I'm not going to hang on to that fetch land for no reason. Not when I'm looking for something. Alright, Delver didn't flip, so they drew a creature or a land. Alright, so I think I want to Brainstorm. Okay, drawing the fetch land changes. I was about to say I want to Brainstorm before I make my land drop, but that's not true right now. So I actually want to Brainstorm on their turn. Like, I think I want to Brainstorm, fetch, Impulse, all in their end step, and try to set up the win all at once. Alright, Delver missed again. Take that Sweet Relief. Also, every card I've played so far looks like I'm just miracles. Sprite Dragon. Yeah, that's not a fight I want to fight. Alright, so let's get moving here. Okay, that's a lot of mana that I don't need, so the Lotus Petal and the City, I don't need both. I'm going to put back Petal and Trop. Then I'm going to fetch for Trop. Or no, I have this island here. Or, no, I guess if I find Veil of Summer, it's going to matter, so. Because of City of Traders doesn't make green, obviously. Well, found Ponder. Still haven't found A or B in my digging. They know I'm a combo deck now, which kind of a bummer to give that up so early. These cantrips can get through themselves pretty quickly. All right, we found Show and Tell. So Show and Tell plus Veil, that doesn't do anything yet. But having the second Veil here is pretty nice. Because now I can just cast this one as a cantrip on any blue card. Yeah, so found A, need a B. Now I can Veil just to draw a card in their end step if I want to, and I probably do. So they know that they just want to put the pedal to the metal at this point. So 6 cards in hand, 2 threats in play. Yeah, they're eating that land anyway, so... And that takes me off double green, so I can't double Veil on my combo turn, so I might as well draw a card. Yeah, they're pushing hard for damage right now, which is what they want to be doing. I clearly do not have my combo set up. So next turn I can Brainstorm, see 3 fresh cards, and then Veil and Show and Tell. So I just need to find the find some science. All right, deck, pay me off here. Help me out. Nothing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a good chance I just lose next turn. Though with Force of Will, maybe that's not as bad as I think. I could also just put a Show and Tell on the stack right now and let them counter it, and then try for another move next turn. So I want to put this Brainstorm on top of my deck. This is tough. This actually sucks a lot. All right, I'll put Brainstorm on top. If this bluff doesn't work, I'm going to feel so stupid. Oh no, I have nothing. They just let it resolve. I had nothing to put in. Okay. I don't know if their hand was actually empty and I would have just won the game, but definitely my gambit didn't pay off. But that's okay. Cyrus Cormangill, the Ad Nauseam Tendrils Grand Prix winner, he has said many times in his writing and in interviews and talking to him about the deck that sometimes you just put Cabal Ritual on the stack, it resolves, and then you pass the turn. Just got to test those soft counters sometimes. All right, so we should be pretty familiar with this sideboard plan by now. I wonder if their hand really was just like 7 lightning bolts and I had the win if I found Omniscience. Okay, this one has A and 2 cantrips. Just got to find a B. Like, I could turn 2 Show and Tell with Force backup. And the potential is here. Another Brainstorm. I do actually want these lands, because Mystic Sanctuary is not where you want to be this early in the game, especially against the Wasteland Daze deck. So I'm going to play a fetch land, cast Brainstorm, and then see where that goes next turn. I guess maybe I should pass the turn and do it on their turn, because just giving them the opportunity to Red Blast a cantrip right now without using their own mana It's not really where I want to be. I'm going to play around Stifle here because I can. Hell yeah, Boseiju. And Omniscience. Alright, we have a plan. Okay, so played around Stifle, played around Soft Permission. Did what I could. Now I just need to fade Wasteland for a turn. They're not going to be digging for Wasteland, which is the good thing. Like, this cantrip, they would not have kept Wasteland on top. So unless one was in their opening hand. Ooh. Okay, so let's put them to the test of Wasteland right now. And this Omniscience isn't really going anywhere yet, which is just a different kind of problem. But I can Brainstorm after I Omniscience. Yeah, they can also Red Blast Omniscience in response to Brainstorm, and then I don't have much going on. So I do need to find a payoff to complement this. And if they do find the Wasteland, I can fetch for Trop, play Carpet, and then have a lot of mana anyway. Yeah, they are frantically looking for Wasteland right now. It's possible they even boarded some out because I have so many basics. All right, we're not getting wasted. So come on, like, give me like Cunning Wish or something. Emrakul. All right, Veil of Summer doesn't actually do anything. All right, well, let's go for it. So if they have double Red Blast, they can actually bust me up here. All right, so I put in Omniscience. They put in Brazen Borrower. So I'm actually going to lead on Carpet of Flowers. Because if they have a Red Blast, I want to respond with Brainstorm. Surgical Extraction on Show and Tell. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. So they get to look at my hand this way. Yeah, go nuts. I'm done doing that. So they now see that they're not dead. Veil of Summer is a cantrip now, though, because they cast a black spell. Yeah, this is actually kind of perilous. If they have... I guess it's not that perilous, because I play Brainstorm, they Red Blast. I force Red Blast, they Red Blast, then I Veil. But if their blasts are pointed at Omniscience, then that's actually bad for me. Brainstorming. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so they're digging. Alright, are they going for the Red Blast here? This is why I sequenced the turn the way I did. So now I can Brainstorm. Now I can Brainstorm looking for answers. Alright, so counter this. If they force back, I can Veil of Summer. They need several forces. And even if they find them all, I can still Brainstorm at the bottom of the chain. Turns out that having infinite mana is pretty powerful. They're thinking about it. They know that I have this Veil over here. And I think leading on Force makes more sense, because if I lead on Veil, then they can force the Veil, which is the cantrip here. Yeah, so I'm going to cast Veil next. Alright, so this puts the shields up. It makes sure Brainstorm resolves. It's a cantrip on its own right. They must have a force. Like, what are they thinking about over there if it's not a force? Okay, it is a force. I'm going to brainstorm in response now. Because if I can protect this... Okay, we did it. Alright, so is their last two cards force blue card? Yes, use the ability, please. Got shared summons. And yep. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. 15 plus 7. Grizzlebrand and Emrakul is 22. Thanks, Taylor Swift. I think that went pretty well. Don't think I want to change anything about the plan. They did surgical extraction me, so they've seen Uro and Shifting Ceratops, even though they didn't come up that game. LOL. That's a hand. So my Lotus Petals are gone, so I can't turn 2 with Boseiju. There's no draw that makes that happen. So I think I should Preordain, and then Boseiju, and then set up for turn 3. I don't need this. I can take Preordain, because I'll have 1 extra mana next turn, because I'll play Boseiju tapped, and then Preordain. I need to come up with a backup plan anyway. My backup plan, I guess, is if they waste Boseiju... Oh, I also need a payoff. Like, this is another Naked Omniscience. And they do know that Wasteland is valuable now, so if they boarded some out, they probably have them back in. Alright, there's Wasteland right now. So maybe I just want to go for Show and Tell, if this is the game they want to play. Let's see what I draw. Okay, so Show and Tell does win the game. Alright, so I can force pitching Preordain if I need to. They're tapped out of red right now. If they had Daze, they would have started with Daze, so they don't. Guess they could put in a land and Red Blast me. I don't care about Ethereal Forager. Yep, sometimes you just jam on turn 2. How do we do? Alright, won the match. Alright, well, we're 3-0 against Delver, so on to the final round. Maybe we'll play against a different deck. It's the final round. I'm on the draw against Grizzlepuff. That is Bob Wong in real life. Bob likes Delver decks. I'm gonna keep this hand. I have A and B plus cantrips to set it up. But we can generally assume that Bob is gonna play well. Right, Underground Sea, go. If he has Stifle, he gets me here, because I can't play around it. Intuition, that does go off with Omniscience. So I can, if I get this Omniscience into play, Intuition can get 3 Cunning Wish, which gets shared summons, and that's GG. So I do have the entire win lined up. I just need to protect it now. This is starting to look pretty combo-y over here. Let's see if this is a green source or another blue or black source. Okay, it's a green source. It could be Bug Delver. Could still be at like Ad Nauseam also. I'm gonna brainstorm before my land drop, see if I can bait a Daze. Okay, now that I have Emrakul, I don't need Intuition anymore. So the backup Omniscience and Intuition can both go away. Then I'm just gonna hold up Veil of Summer in case he is like Ad Nauseam Tendrils or anything with a discard spell. Oh, Dark Confidant. Okay, he is not Ad Nauseam. Just some bug deck. Get another island here. That Lotus Petal I think is my best draw. Emrakul is among my worst draws. Well, luckily, I can get rid of one of them with this Brainstorm. Okay, that's pretty solid. So Emrakul and the second Omniscience are not important here. Yeah, I don't need backups of either of those. Can ponder. I would love to find a fetch land. Alright, yeah, City of Traders not what I want. Nice. Okay, so found this basic forest. So now I can Veil of Summer plus Show and Tell Emrakul next turn. Another Bob in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, as they say. He's about to have 2 in the bush, though, if he wants them. Yeah. Shame my lands I sequenced don't result in double green, but hopefully I won't need it. Uh-oh. Alright, so time to figure out how he wants to play this. Alright, so I get to put in Science and cast Emrakul. That'll do. Alright, the old Dark Confidant plan did not work. So I was able to play that game like right until the very end. Like I think until I played the basic forest, I could have been any sort of mid-range control deck, which is something I really like. I've mentioned it a few times in this league, but I really like the ability of this deck to pretend it's something different. So I think that this is going to look pretty similar to the previous boarding. I'm not convinced that he's a Delver deck necessarily, but I do think that we should board in a similar way. Like, there's a good. It's probably more mid-rangey than the stuff we've played around so far, or played against so far. But like Sylvan Library might be something I'm more interested here than I would be otherwise. Uro's probably still great. Ceratops is fine, but I suspect Bob and Tarmogoyf are the win conditions. Maybe I want to just lean in, and maybe I should main deck all 4 Veils. Okay, what does this look like if I do this? So Flusterstorm is also good against discard spells, Sylvan Library. Force of Will, generally pretty important. I think it's safe to say. Actually, I don't think Uro meshes with the every counterspell in the main deck plan. And maybe Shifting Ceratops doesn't either. So if I do this, so I'm trying to think like, how do I beat a deck with discard spells, a clock, and counter magic? And I think having all the Veils in the main, like I'm not gonna wish for one. Yeah, so I think just getting my mana under me. And if I'm playing one thing between Uro and Ceratops, I think Uro is better on its own. Alright, so if there is a game 3 and I know more about the deck, then I can decide on Ceratops. I think I want to keep this. Obviously, it's not everything I'd ever want, but I do think it's pretty solid. Like, Carpet just goes so far in these sort of matchups. He mulled to 5. Alright, so Delver confirmed. So just looking for a green source off of this for the most part. I'll take the one of the ponders, but I really want to find a land, so I'm not going to take both. Force of Will in hand now. Alright, yeah, he's really coming at it here. I would love to just draw a green source off the top right now. Come on, deck, help me out. Shit. Shuffle it. Thank you, deck. So do I play around Wasteland? I don't think so. I'm actually gonna just pass here with Veil up, because it's really important that Carpet of Flowers resolve. Like, I think Bob would force it right now if I cast it. I'm on a really fast clock here, though. Right, so Bob on the stack. I can Veil to cantrip right now, and I think I actually want to do that. Because I'm going to need to win this game quickly. Which is not something that's currently happening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm at 4 on board. I should play my land before I go for my carpet, because now I can play around Daze and Force. See, look at this long pause. He's thinking really hard about how important this is. Like, that's why I waited the turn, because he would have just snapped off the Force last turn. Not that I'm convinced it's going to matter. Like, I need to draw Show and Tell off the top, and then I should win pretty easily. But I don't have Show and Tell. It's a big problem. Alright, so I just saw the life total change, so thinking about Force of Will over there. Thinking hard enough to at least put it on the... click on the card. Yeah, a lot of respect for Carpet of Flowers here. So these 2 Dark Confidants are pretty scary, though, because they can just reload the hand. Alright, he opted out of it. Wish I had the show, but I don't. Land, Brazen Borrower. Alright, Brazen Bee can clip my carpet if it wants to. But I am dead on board right now. Got a top deck Show and Tell. It is the only option. The good news is discard doesn't matter, because none of my cards in hand are important. Want Show and Tell off the top? Well, Uro is not the worst card I've ever seen. Yes, make, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll make blue. This is obviously not what I wanted to do, but here comes Uro. Yeah, so I can't actually win. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is exactly lethal on board still, even with the gain 3 life. Yeah, so I may have just showed him Uro for no reason, but no, I'm dead. I guess I can see a couple more Bob flips and at least get more information. Like, I've seen Brazen Borrower already. All right, Ponder and Brainstorm. No great information there to be gained, but just wanted to see what was left of that. So I do think that my Ceratopsis should be in the deck now that I've seen Delver. This is an actual Delver deck. Sylvan Library might be a little slow. And I do like Uro. He's now seen Uro, so Graveyard Hate might come in, or he might just get, like, start sideboarding weirdly around it. Alright, gotta find one more card here to cut. We're out of easy ones to cut. I could go back down to 3 Veils in the main. I could cut a Flusterstorm. I could cut Force of Will, but on the play, I do like the ability to jam. Though, with all the soft permission, maybe I don't need Force of Will. As awkward as that sounds in my proactive combo deck. Is Force better than Flusterstorm, I guess is the real question. I'm not convinced that it is, so I'm gonna go in with this deck. Okay, so we got some fast mana, all the payoffs, but no show and tell and no good way to find it. I think this is a mulligan, as much as I don't want it to be. Oh, this is so tough. Like, there are definitely hands where, or games where I would just lose because I kept this hand. And then there are games where I just draw Ponder into show and tell and I win on turn 2, or turn 3. I think I actually want to keep this. Yeah, I'll keep it. Yeah, the plan of just hitting land drops is not a bad one. Yeah, this is just such a tight little package if I draw show and tell. And I can also turn 2 Eureka with this configuration. Play a lot of cantrips. Let's see where this goes. See if I get punished. Did not, or it did shuffle. Oh, LOL. Well, that's what we were playing for, isn't it? Did shuffle the library. Please don't have days. Shit. Do you have days and force? Bummer. Alright, fine. Okay. So we're back in this mode now, looking for the wins. Like, I could have taken the turn off to play around days, but it did need 2 cards, and shuffling off Ponder, generally a sign of weakness. Oh, that's going to be tough to win now. So now we're going to need to win with Ceratops or Uro or Eureka. What can this Cunning Wish do? It can put Uro in my graveyard eventually. Yep, hard mode activated. Maybe that was just a bad play. I'm thinking more about last turn when like, I could play the numbers of, like, oh, he doesn't have 2 counterspells, and, like, what if he untaps and casts a discard spell, and, like, all of that, but Omni is made to resolve show and tell once. Maybe it was just bad, and it's not, like, I don't know. Alright, so I'm gonna Cunning Wish for Intuition. Intuition can get Uro into my hand or graveyard. And that's going to be my plan moving forward. He didn't see this veil I just drew. Like, that was the draw for turn. So if the follow-up here is like him to Turok, I can actually get a solid blowout, unless found another daze. Confidant. Okay, so I think I do want to veil in the end step here. The cantrip is pretty important. Getting my land drop matters a lot. Okay, how does this play out? So I can have a Ceratops in 2 turns, or I can Intuition next turn. Yeah, too bad this isn't Brainstorm, right? I have Ceratops next turn. Okay, so I'm gonna reserve the right to shuffle, or the ability to shuffle, and float Ceratops on top. Alright, it's got an Uro of his own over there. That Uro pays for itself with Dark Confidant, that's so powerful. Alright, so with this Wasteland that is in play now, do I still want to draw this land? I mean, that lets me play around days with my intuition. I can also just pass and see what happens. Alright, so is making sure he doesn't take damage from Bob. Yeah, the Wasteland is throwing a big wrench in this. But Uro also I can't beat, so that is not actually a wrench at all. Yeah, I think I just got a little too impatient early on. Should have. He didn't even have a threat in play. I should have just sat on my business and drawn some more protection, or at least taken the turn off to play around days. Yeah, loosey goosey, baby. Okay, so what do I want to get here? So Uro is obviously in the pile, and then I need 2 other cards. Like the Veils are cantrips at least. Like I could just cantrip with Veil, or I could get like 2 carpets, but then it gives me Uro, then my carpets are in the graveyard. Definitely don't want to get Emrakul. Yeah, I think I just want to get 2 Veils. Will probably just give me Uro. He's got another surgical. That's bad news. I could Mystic Sanctuary right now. What does that do? I do have 3 islands right now. But all of my spells that matter don't actually matter. And I do actually just want to draw lands. Yeah, so this will cantrip off of the Uro at least. Alright, did find a land. Uro loses to Daze, Force of Will, Abrupt Decay. It's a bad scene all around, and he has the first Uro, so he gets the first attack, gets to draw the first extra card. Okay. Yep, alright, 2 surgicals. I definitely just needed to be more patient on that turn 2 show and tell. Just at least take the turn off, play around days. But alright, so we lost to Eldrazi, which was a quick clock backed by some disruption. And then we beat 3 Delver players, and then we lost to another Delver player, who was also able to present a quick clock with multiple points of disruption. So I think this was a pretty good showcase of the deck. Uro, there was some theoretical interest in Uro, and he like almost saved me in that Eldrazi matchup, but in general, didn't do a whole lot. I do think that the Ceratops sideboard plan checks a lot of the boxes that just shoving Uro in your main deck does. And Uro being at the cost of the 4th Cunning Wish, I don't think I like, because the Cunning Wish, we saw a couple times where I was able to like wish for intuition, then intuition for something. And if a game gets slower, like when you play against Eldrazi and 4 Delver decks in a league, that line looks pretty bad. But when you're playing against the like any sort of mid-range blue deck, that gets a lot more appealing, the slow Cunning Wish option. Though Uro is also more appealing in those matchups. So this is the slot that I'd want to keep thinking about for Steve or anyone else who wants to work on this deck. The Uro versus 4th Cunning Wish. But I do think the sideboard was pretty solid. Like, there's certain things that you just have to play as being part of a wish board, and that is what it is. Like, you could play more Sylvan Libraries if you want. Like, if your meta is full of miracles and fair blue decks like that, you might just want 2 or 3 Sylvan Libraries in the sideboard to just always have one on turn 2. But yeah, play patiently, I guess, is the important thing. This deck's very good at resolving one show and tell, and it's very bad at rebuilding after a show and tell is countered. So lessons learned in the last round there. But I do think this deck is powerful. I'm glad I have my Eureka IRL. And yeah, it's a show and tell deck, end of the day. And if this is the kind of thing you want to be doing, it is powerful, it's proactive. I think blue-green is a really interesting way to build the deck. It's less explosive than blue-red, but it is more solid. So I am into this kind of deck. So Steve, thanks for the submission. Anyone else, if you want me to play your deck, my contact info is in the video description below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video.